Donald Trump has decided to pardon Scooter Libby. Scooter Libby from the Bush administration, from the Bush era, the individual who outed a CIA official to a New York Times reporter by the name of Judith Miller. Now Trump and the White House have released a statement in regard to the pardon of Libby. And it says that Trump issued an executive grant of clemency, a full pardon to Scooter Lewis Libby, former chief of staff to Vice President Richard Cheney. Now, for those of you who don't remember what happened with Libby, he was convicted back in 2007 of lying to the FBI and obstruction of justice in the investigation into the leak of the identity of Valerie Plame, a former covert CIA operative. George Bush actually commuted his 30-month sentence, sparing him prison time, but he didn't give him a full pardon. Now, he was convicted. Keep in mind, Libby was convicted of 4 counts. 1 count of obstruction of justice, 2 counts of perjury, 1 count of making false statements. So this is interesting. Out of nowhere. When I saw Scooter Libby in the headlines, I was like, wow, blast from the past. And this is happening.
So the guy who said that he was for rule of law, did the big fiery speech during the Republican convention, now pardoning people over and over who are lawbreakers, based on what? Is he saying, for example, oh my God, it turns out somebody smoked pot 20 years ago, he's still in jail, are you crazy? We gotta let the guy, just seeking some sort of justice? No. All he's done is pardon political allies who are clearly lawbreakers. Libby was so bad, Bush refused, despite Cheney's vehement demands. Bush refused to pardon him, even though he was part of his administration, a huge part of his administration. Trump comes in and does it. So why does he do it, and why does he do it now? Number one, he's sending a message, I will pardon political allies. Okay, so keep that in mind, everyone talking to the special counsel right now. And number two, Libby was convicted, as Anna pointed out, of lying to the FBI and obstruction of justice. So setting a precedent for pardoning people for lying and obstruction of justice. There's a special irony of it today, but I want to let these guys jump in. I'll get back to the irony.
You know what this is all about, you're right. I mean, Donald Trump, what does he believe in? I mean, first, why would Scooter Libby need a pardon? He never went to jail. George Bush made sure he never went to jail. He's back to practicing law. He doesn't need this damn pardon. He's doing it to send a message to everybody else saying, don't worry, I've got your back. And almost like I've got my own back, you know,
exactly.
as well. But also, what did Scooter Libby do? He revealed the identity of a CIA agent, an undercover agent who had people working all around the planet for her, Valerie Plame, whom I know is a good friend, putting people's lives at risk. And this kind of proves, if you're a Trumper, man, you can violate national security, you can jeopardize our national security, and that's all right as long as you're loyal to me.
Yeah, it's not just Trumpers. I think a lot of times it's interesting how quickly Republicans will go from law and order to then looking the other way. Because you're right, Scooter Libby did put her life in jeopardy. And somebody I just heard was talking about how John Bolton perhaps was behind some of this in terms of saying, you know, because he is a Scooter Libby supporter.
Oh, that's a good point.
And somebody just brought that up of saying perhaps he'd gotten into Trump's ear as well and said this is not a bad idea. The day that Comey is now coming out, because Comey was the one who had prosecuted him, correct? Wasn't he the one? By the way, I got to say, though, Scooter Libby, what a great name. Just the name, Scooter. What I mean, is he Scoots? Is he the Lib? Who is he?
He's definitely not a Lib.
He's not a Lib, exactly.
That we're sure of.
Yeah.
This is Cheney. This is Cheney's guy.
Yeah.
Right? And you know what I hate about this too is that I hated George W. Bush, but Donald Trump makes me like George W. Bush more.
I know,
right?
I mean, I don't like George W. Bush, but I see what you're saying. I mean, when you compare him to Trump, he seems better.
And he realized that giving him a full pardon was going too far based on what he did.
Yeah.
So he said, well, he won't serve any prison time, but I'm not going to let him off the hook entirely.
Can I say something else, though? In terms of Scooter Libby, Bush, Cheney, all these guys, what's amazing to me is when we were going into war with Iraq, and a lot of us knew this is not the right move to do, and they were like, rah, 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 and a lot of Republicans, let's go, let's go, let's go. In my mind, I thought, okay, once it comes out and it's a disaster, they will own it. And they still have not owned it. John Bolton very boldly still supports, still a hawk. And now Scooter Libby, one of the guys who was involved in all this stuff, he's being pardoned. So they still are not, Republicans are not admitting to go, hey, that was a bad idea. Hundreds of thousands, millions of innocent people have died because of this war. So it's more of the same.
And can I just also add that the Scooter Libby pardon comes on the heels of the Joe Arpaio pardon. I mean, when this administration is over, sooner the better, right? The list of people that he's pardoned is going to be the rogues gallery of just,
He seems to have a lot of affection for people who have been convicted of, contempt of court or obstruction of justice, which is, something that he is facing an investigation for. But I do want to read a quick quote from Donald Trump in regard to Scooter Libby. I mean, does he know Scooter Libby well? Did he really look into this case deeply to make this decision? Here's his quote. I don't know Mr. Libby, but for years I have heard that he has been treated unfairly. Hopefully this full pardon will help rectify a very sad portion of his life.
What?
No, that's amazing.
That's amazing.
But who admits that they're giving a pardon based on, for years, I have heard that he has been treated unfairly? Did you read any of the documents? Did you look at the indictment? Did you look at the conviction, the plea? Did you look at anything? No, people have been telling me. I don't know. I think I saw it on Fox News, which goes to Maz's point that he probably heard from John Bolton.
Yeah.
And I hear he's been treated unfairly. Homework? Who wants to do homework? Who cares? Rule of law. Let's just pardon him.
This is a classic Trumpism. Everybody believes that Comey should have been fired. Everybody believes of Scooter Libby, but nobody believes it but him and Bolton.
Right.
So
Cheney, maybe.
So let me be clear about one thing and then get to the irony. Look, I think George Bush still is worse than Trump at this point. Now, Trump is dumber, which is unbelievable. I couldn't have imagined that we would have a president dumber than George W. Bush. He is more unstable. He's a menace to the world, etc. But Bush started the Iraq War. That got millions of people killed. So, and Trump has not yet done that. And I hope we can get him out of office before he does. So that's my take on that. But in terms of the irony, this is the same day that an Inspector General report comes out about Andrew McCabe, who Donald Trump does not like because of his role in the FBI. And the Inspector General says that McCabe had a lack of candor in talking to the FBI. Trump goes ballistic and he's like, I knew it, what a liar. Then he pardons a convicted liar who lied to the FBI
Two counsels
on the same day. You just watched the video by the Young Turks, the home of the revolution. If you'd like to get the full show, come join us and become a member. tytnetwork.com/join.